Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Theodore at Home. We are joined by Godwin from Godwin Charlie. Godwin is a tailoring extraordinaire, and he's going to guide us through the entire process for tailoring for your big day. How are you, Godwin?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you for coming on. It's always such a pleasure to have our Mr. Theodore family join us for these episodes, which have been great. Godwin, give us a little bit of an insight into who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so to all those listening, my name is Godwin Hilly. I'm the founder and creative director of men's and women's fashion brand Godwin Charlie. My business is one that was born from a passion to just help people look and feel their absolute best. Like, it's as far back as I can remember, it always was about that. Even before I had the idea of a business, I just loved the process of taking someone either shopping or introducing them to a well-fitted garment and observing the transformation. And I think it's that passion is what still drives me today.
And it really goes to show in all your garments, because, you know, you take a look at your work, it is above and beyond incredible. Like, we're in awe of everything that you create. It's a beautiful product. So congratulations on that. Thank you. How long have you been working in the world of fashion for?
I was fortunate to get my first gig as the assistant to the festival director of L'Oreal Melbourne Fashion Festival. At the time, it was Robert Buckingham, and he literally just threw me in the deep end. And it was that jolt of excitement that kind of, I guess, projected me into this space. And I eventually then launched my brand in 2007.
So tell us about the Godwin Charlie experience and walk us through the process from, you know, that initial walk into your showroom till the wedding day itself.
Yeah, so the process for me obviously starts with an initial consultation in my showroom. It's a time where I really get to know you and understand you and your partner. Once we, move through the initial formalities of introducing one another, I then like to sort of move through the themes or the look and feel that you were sort of aiming for. Now, if you don't have that, no stress whatsoever. That's why I'm here. Yeah. I'm here to kind of extract the goodness from your relationship and translate it into something visual, which is why I encourage couples to come to me early, because I can solve those initial confusions a lot earlier in the process for you and relieve a lot of that stress. So there's that initial consult, understand key themes, what you had in mind. I can sort of flesh that out as well. Because I'm a showroom, because I design everything, I've got a showroom full of existing product and existing designs that you can touch and feel. I think that's really, really important. Yeah, it's really important because, you may be a lot taller than your partner. You might be a completely different size, complexion. I think to physically touch and feel garments is really, really important. And if your sample size, you'll be lucky enough to try them on as well, which is really, really good. Once we decide on your style, I conduct a fit profile analysis, understand your body type and your fit profile, create that pattern for you and uniquely you. Yep. And then we order and manufacture and hand make your garments. That process is 4 weeks. So between placing that order and receiving the garments for that second fitting, that's a 4-week period. And then you come in, I invite you back in to try everything on for the first time. And if there are any observations around fit at that point, we can make necessary adjustments. Okay. In a lot of the cases, if I've done my job properly and you've maintained your size, you can take the garments home with you. And you know what? And that's one of the first questions I ask around, are you at your sort of desired shape or form? Yeah. Are you anticipating any sort of major health and fitness regimes before the event? Okay. Because obviously we're having these garments made for you. Yes. So, there may be some differences that we observe in your second fitting, but that's okay. We'll make the adjustments, and that can be turned around within a week. So we're not talking a lot of time. So really, if you allow 6 weeks, then you'll be locked and loaded and ready to go.
So for couples embarking on their wedding planning journey, obviously for them, there's so much to think about, what venue, florist, etc. We know what goes in, we know what goes into it. At what part of that journey do you suggest that they start, looking into, what they're going to wear and who they're going to go with?
I feel like the best time to engage any of your suppliers is once you have your overall theme locked in. So I think you can't make decisions around style unless you understand what is it you want to communicate to those in attendance, I guess. By that I mean as simple as, is it a black tie event?
Yeah.
Is it a more relaxed affair? Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? Is it a mixture of both? Is there going to be a formal ceremony? Is there going to be a party? Will that involve, 2 different outfits? Like those I think decisions are made first.
Yeah.
In most cases. And I think once you have that, then starting the conversation with someone like myself really helps you identify what's possible. I think if you leave it too late, then you might have this kind of vision that may not even be possible, or you don't have the time to execute on. So I guess the sooner you understand your theme, the essence of the day,
okay.
Start the conversation.
Yeah, and you just touched on it briefly then, but for couples coming in and not really knowing, they know what style of wedding they're having, whether it be black tie or a more casual event, but they just don't know what they want to wear. They're so overwhelmed with choice. How do you guide them through that process, and what do you suggest?
Well, look, I think the best way to remove any of that kind of stress is to have that meet and greet in my showroom. The beauty of what I do is my space is I guess full of great options, some great ideas. I've got over 15 years of experience styling weddings, so I can just help the conversation move forward. I've just done so many, and I've seen so many well executed events that I can kind of cut out all the crap and get straight to it. I genuinely enjoy that process. And a lot of the things that you may seem to be stressful or hard to get your head around is made so much more simpler when a simple conversation's had.
And that's it, and with your wealth of experience, couples are definitely guided by someone, who knows what they're doing, so they can definitely be confident in your suggestions and your guidance along there as well. Let's talk about tailoring for women, because that is something that you are very big on.
Well, for me, it's always been about men and women. Like, I've been styling men and women since day one.
Yeah.
So the process is no different whether I'm styling men or women. And I think what's most important to note is that because I've been doing women's wear for so long, the breadth of my offering for women is huge.
Speaking about tailoring for women, what is your favourite part about women's tailoring?
So when it comes to women's tailoring, my most favourite aspect of offering women suiting is the fact that I offer so much, and it's that initial expression I see in their faces when I reveal the options available. It's not just about a black tuxedo; it can be so much more than that. And the fact that I've been doing this for so long and that I've got such a range available, it excites me to share that with women and show them that it's not just the men who get to have all the fun when it comes to suiting.
Now, with COVID, the wedding scene is changing a lot. Let's talk about smaller and intimate weddings, because that is a topic that's, it's hot at the moment, micro weddings, elopements and whatnot. So what are some style options and some looks that you would suggest for couples that, they are having a wedding with just 5 people? So would they still go all out with what they're wearing, or is there some completely new looks and some more freedom to have in that scenario?
The key thing is to have the wedding you've always wanted.
Yeah.
Whether there's 4 people in attendance or 400, I think you shouldn't hold back on this special day. Obviously, dress for the occasion. Just because we're having more intimate affairs, it doesn't mean that we restrict the vision or restrict having the event that we've always dreamed to have.
I think that's such great advice, because I do know for us too, we get so many queries coming our way of, if I'm having a smaller wedding, does that mean it's less extravagant? Does that mean I need to cut back on this or that, or not look as good as I thought I would be? And I think, you know, what you've just said there, whether it's a wedding for 4 people, for 400 people, the event that you have has to be a reflection of who you are, and you can have an incredible event, whether it be with just 4 or 5 guests or with 400 guests. So I think, you know, don't stop, you know, pull everything out and create something that you've always wanted to do.
Couldn't agree with you more.
A question that we get asked so often here at Mr Theodore, more so when it comes to 2 groom weddings, is do I wear the same as my partner, or do I have the freedom to wear something completely different?
That's like, it's such a topical question, because I get it all the time.
Yeah.
I love them. Why? Because it really gives me a chance to understand you as an individual, right? Because I find couples, sometimes there is incredible contrast between what each other is as a person, which makes for a beautiful wedding and a beautiful amalgamation of 2 individuals. But what I try and do is, yes, we are dealing with 2 individuals, but I try and find ways in which I can connect the 2.
Okay.
Now, it may not be in colour, it may be in form. It may be an intricacy of the lapel shape.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't have to be, you know, a tonal matchy, one's light, one's dark. It doesn't have to be that way. You can represent who you are. But what I like to do personally, because I'm very visual, I like to ensure that when you're both standing there, that it's distinct. Like, there are elements of your look, there are elements of your silhouette that make sense, even at the smallest, most simplest level of detail.
Give us your predictions for looks for 2021 and beyond, because I know for, you know, 2019 and 2020, what we saw a lot of with the 2 groom weddings was, you know, one in, you know, a white dinner jacket and one in a black. You know, that was hugely popular. What do you predict would be the looks for, you know, the seasons moving forward?
Look, I think the classic black tie, that's going nowhere fast. I mean, that's something I think. Yeah, that's classic. I think it's timeless. I still think it's a relevant look and will remain a relevant look. In terms of trends, I think, you know, it's a really good question. You know, it also depends on the time of the year. So, you know, I'm seeing a fair bit happening around textured velvets.
Okay.
So the Italians in particular, you know, are constantly developing new ways to represent velvet. So I have on offer, you know, velvet cords and textured velvets and different shades of velvet. So your traditional navy and black aren't your only options. But if you're looking to sort of push the envelope, think outside the square, that's when I really come into my element.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of the European fabric houses that experiment all the time in every season.
Okay.
And it gives me an opportunity to showcase those fabrics to you in what I call a private collection service.
Yeah.
So we take the showroom collection to the next level.
Okay.
And it becomes an entirely bespoke service where I tap into my, you know, 15 years of experience in sourcing fabrics from the best mills in the world, and, you know, really pick out those unique cloths that will bring your day to life.
And lastly, before we finish up, Godwin, sum up the Godwin Charlie experience in 3 words.
In 3 words, the Godwin Charlie experience is passionate, because I'm extremely passionate about what I do. It's enjoyable. You know, I want the experience to be fun for you. And it's intimate. Like, most of the time we become good friends. Like, I mean, we spend a fair bit of time together. I ask you some pretty personal questions when it comes to, you know, what you want, what you like, what you don't like. And I just want, you know, what I do to be visually appealing on your biggest day. And, you know, if I can bring your main event to life, then it's an absolute privilege. And I hope you enjoy the process.